the empty-eyed watcher. I had always encouraged my son, Alex, to express himself through art. But lately, his drawings had taken a disturbing turn. Each sketch was more unsettling than the last, depicting a dark figure with hollow, empty eyes that seemed to follow you around the room. The figure was always there, lurking just behind us, its presence felt but never acknowledged. At first, I dismissed it as a phase, a child's way of processing the world. But as the drawings multiplied, appearing in every corner of our once cheerful home, a chilling sensation crept up my spine. The sketches seemed to whisper secrets, each stroke of the crayon a silent scream for attention. One evening, as the shadows grew long and the house settled into an eerie silence, I found a drawing taped to the fridge. It was different this time. The figure stood closer, its eyes almost touching the shoulders of our sketched family. I shuddered, feeling a cold breath on my neck as I studied the image. That night, I heard it for the first time, the faintest murmur, like a conversation just beyond the edge of hearing. I searched the house, flipping on lights and calling out, but found nothing. The whispers seemed to mock me, dancing just out of reach. The next morning, Alex's eyes were rimmed with darkness, his usual chatter replaced with somber silence. When I asked about the figure, he simply said, "He's always been here, Daddy." How had I not noticed? Was this figure a manifestation of something more sinister? As the days passed, the atmosphere in our home grew heavier, the air thick with unspoken dread. The drawings became our constant companions, watching, waiting. I could feel their gaze, cold and unyielding, as if they were alive. The whispers grew louder, insistent. They followed me from room to room, their words a twisted melody that clawed at my sanity. I tried to ignore them, to focus on my work, but the figure in Alex's drawings haunted my thoughts. One evening, as I sat in the dim glow of my study lamp, I noticed something odd about the sketches. The figure had moved. Its eyes were no longer empty, they bore into mine, accusing, demanding. I traced the lines with trembling fingers, feeling the paper come alive beneath my touch. Alex slept fitfully in the next room, his breaths ragged. I wondered if he heard the whispers too. Was he aware of the dark presence that clung to our home? I couldn't protect him from it, I didn't even know what it was. Desperation drove me to research. I scoured old books, visited libraries, and consulted experts in the occult. But the figure defied explanation. It was as if it existed beyond the boundaries of reason, a nightmare made flesh. One day, I stumbled upon an ancient text, an obscure grimoire that promised answers. Its pages smelled of dust and decay, the ink faded but still legible. I followed the instructions, drawing a protective circle on the floor, chanting incantations that tasted like ash. The figure appeared before me, its form shifting, indistinct. Its eyes burned with hunger. "Why?" I demanded. "Why torment us?" Its voice was a whisper, 1,000 voices layered into one. "I feed on fear," it said. "Your son's drawings, they nourish me. And you, too, with your curiosity. What do you want?" I asked, my heart pounding. "More," it replied. "More fear, more despair. Your family is my canvas, and I paint with shadows." I had no choice. I burned the grimoire, hoping to banish the creature. But it only laughed, its laughter echoing through the walls. "You can't escape me," it said. "I am the darkness you fear, the nightmare you can't forget." The figure's presence grew more oppressive. It no longer confined itself to the drawings, it seeped into our reality. Shadows twisted, furniture creaked, and the air tasted of decay. Alex's once bright eyes dulled, mirroring the darkness that clung to our home. I confronted the figure again, desperate for answers. "What do you want from my son?" I demanded. Its laughter echoed through the room, a chorus of lost souls. "He's special," it said. "His fear is exquisite. I feed on it, nourish myself with his nightmares." "But why?" I pressed. "Why choose my family?" "Because you invited me," it whispered. "Your curiosity, your obsession, it opened the door." I had to protect Alex. I scoured the grimoire once more, searching for a way to banish the creature. The pages blurred, symbols dancing before my eyes. The answer lay hidden, encoded in ancient glyphs. As the whispers grew louder, I stumbled upon a ritual, a desperate gamble. I needed a sacrifice, something to appease the hunger. The figure watched, its eyes gleaming with anticipation. I chose myself. I stood in the center of the protective circle, knife in hand. The blade cut deep, blood pooling at my feet. The figure leaned closer, its form shifting, merging with mine. "Is this enough?" I gasped. It laughed, a sound that rattled my bones. "Not yet," it said. "Fear is a delicate flavor. I need more." I closed my eyes, willing the pain away. The whispers intensified, a cacophony of despair. Alex appeared in the doorway, eyes wide with terror. "Daddy," he whispered. "Make it stop." I couldn't. The figure consumed me, its hunger insatiable. It whispered secrets of forgotten gods, of ancient bargains. And then, it spoke my name. "Your son," it said. "He will continue my work." I collapsed, darkness swallowing me whole. The last thing I heard was Alex's scream. And now, as I linger between worlds, I watch. Alex sits at the kitchen table, crayon in hand. The figure stands behind him, guiding his strokes. Its eyes are no longer empty, they burn with hunger. The drawings multiply, spreading like a virus. The figure feeds, and Alex trembles, unaware of the darkness that clings to his soul. Story 2. The Ominous Echo. I always believed in the logical order of the world, where every effect has a cause and every mystery a solution. That was until the day my phone buzzed with a message that defied all reason. It was from my own number, a string of words chilling enough to freeze the blood in my veins. "I'm coming for you." I laughed it off at first, thinking it was a prank, but the seed of unease was already sown. The day had been ordinary, the kind where the most exciting event was choosing what to have for lunch. But as dusk fell, and the shadows grew long, that message returned to me, playing on a loop in my mind. I tried to call back, only to be met with the indifferent tone of a voicemail. It was as if I was trying to reach out to a part of myself that was no longer there. That night, the air in my apartment felt heavier, charged with an unspoken anticipation. The digital clock on my bedside table ticked away the seconds, each one a drumbeat to an unknown climax. I tossed and turned, the sheets tangling around me like a shroud. When sleep finally claimed me, it was fitful and laced with nightmares. I dreamed of a figure, a shadowy doppelganger that mirrored my every move. It was me, but not me. Its eyes were voids that pulled at my soul, and its voice was a distorted echo of my own. "Why are you running?" it taunted, as I fled through an endless corridor that twisted back upon itself. The next morning, I awoke to a room bathed in the sickly light of a sun shrouded in clouds. My phone lay silent, an inert witness to the night's terrors. I tried to shake off the remnants of the dream, to restore some semblance of normalcy. But the message was still there, a digital specter that haunted the screen. As the day wore on, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. I caught glimpses of movement in the corner of my eye, heard whispers that were snatched away by silence. The boundaries between reality and nightmare began to blur, and I questioned my own sanity. Was I being haunted by myself? I became obsessed with the message, dissecting its words like a cryptic code. "I'm coming for you." Who was the sender? Why did they choose me? And why did they sound so eerily like myself? My friends and family noticed the change in me. The laughter that once echoed through our gatherings had turned brittle, replaced by a nervous edge. I avoided mirrors, fearing that my reflection would no longer be my own. The walls of my apartment seemed to close in, their paint peeling like old skin. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I received another message. This time, it was a photo, a dimly lit alley, its cobblestones slick with rain. I recognized the place, it was the alley behind my building. But what chilled me to the bone was the figure standing there, obscured by shadows. It was me, or at least a version of me, staring directly into the camera. I rushed downstairs, my heart pounding. The alley was empty, the rain washing away any trace of the phantom. I took shaky photos, comparing them to the one on my phone. The resemblance was uncanny, the same eyes, the same curve of the lips. But this version wore a twisted smile, a promise of malevolence. Desperation drove me to research. I scoured ancient texts, delved into folklore, seeking answers to this impossible riddle. The concept of doppelgangers emerged, a malevolent twin, a harbinger of doom. They were said to appear before tragedy, their presence a warning that fate had taken a dark turn. The voicemail taunted me. I dialed my own number, listening to the hollow echo. But this time, there was something else, a whisper, barely audible. "You can't escape," it murmured. My breath hitched. Was it a threat or a plea? And who was the speaker, the sender of the message or the fractured reflection in the alley? Sleep became elusive. I barricaded my bedroom door, convinced that the walls held secrets. The mirror mocked me, its silver surface a portal to an alternate reality. I saw glimpses of movement, a flicker of movement behind my shoulder, a ripple in the glass. Was it my mind playing tricks, or was the boundary between worlds thinning? The boundary between my world and the other grew thinner with each passing day. Shadows clung to my footsteps, elongating into grotesque shapes that whispered secrets I dared not comprehend. The mirror became my nemesis, its silver surface reflecting not just my face, but the fractured soul that haunted me. I sought refuge in the archives of forgotten libraries, poring over ancient scrolls and crumbling manuscripts. The doppelganger had a name, Echo, a creature born from the echoes of our choices. It fed on fear, drawing strength from the tremors of our hearts. And it had chosen me as its vessel. The voicemail played on a loop, its words etching themselves into my psyche. You can't escape. But what was the price of this twisted connection? What did Echo want from me? I had no answers, only questions that gnawed at my sanity. The alley beckoned, its cobblestones slick with rain. I ventured there, my breath misting in the cold air. Echo awaited me, its eyes twin voids that held the weight of forgotten sins. Why are you running? It asked, its voice a discordant harmony of my own. I stumbled backward, my back hitting the damp wall. What do you want? I demanded, my voice trembling. Echomore's smile widened, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. To complete the circle, it replied. To merge our worlds, to become whole. The rain intensified, washing away the boundaries. Echomore stepped closer, its hand reaching for mine. You've always been running, it murmured. From choices, regrets, from yourself. Its touch seared my skin, and I glimpsed the truth. The voicemail was a warning, a plea to break the cycle. I closed my eyes, the rain mingling with tears. How? I whispered. Echomore leaned in, its lips brushing my ear. Embrace the echo, it said. Let go of fear, surrender to the inevitable. And then it hugged me, a merging of souls, a dance of shadows. The world fractured, reality splintering like glass. I saw glimpses of other lives, choices unmade, paths untaken. And in that fractured moment, I understood. Echomore was me, the embodiment of my regrets, my fears. To escape, I had to become whole. As dawn approached, I stood in the alley, rain washing away the remnants of the past. The voicemail played one last time, its tone softer, almost tender. I'm coming for you, it whispered. But this time, I knew, I was coming for myself. And so, I stepped into the void, the echo swallowing me whole. The world shifted, and I became both sender and receiver, the message a promise and a curse. The phone buzzed, a new text appearing, I'm here. But this time, I welcome the darkness. The end. Subscribe for more. Thank you.